In southern Peru's Sacred Valley, on a mountain west of the ancient city of Ollantaytambo, lie the ruins of several stone structures. The original name and purpose are not known, but this site may predate the Inca Empire. Its proximity to the ancient rock quarry of Cachiqata has inspired a theory that these buildings once served as an administrative office, or perhaps a school for masons. Long before the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 1530s, apprentice stoneworkers may have come here to learn the arts of tool-making, stone splitting and shaping, as well as methods for transporting and setting these gigantic blocks. In this video, I explore what is left of this complex and how it may have supported construction activities at Cachiqata and Ollantaytambo. Listening to my guide, I began to understand why the original name of this site remains a mystery.
The first name, Llaqtallaqtayoc. During the Inca's time, Llaqta was a big place. It was a big place, or big town, where normally were divided in different sectors. For example, agricultural sector, urban sector, and religious sector. So this place is too small to be a Llaqta. So probably the real name is, I told you, Choquetakarpo. Probably. Yeah, nobody knows.
I was intrigued by the questions my guide raised about this site's original name. Was it Llaqtallaqtayoc or Choquetakarpo? If this site was too small to have been called a big town, then perhaps the name Llaqtallaqtayoc referred to the nearby city of Ollantaytambo. Or maybe the name had been altered over many centuries. Was it originally called Llaqtallaqtayoc, which is Quechua for village administrator, in reference to its role as the quarry's administrative office? Or maybe Choquetakarpo was the original name. But why would these buildings be given a title that translates to pushing gold? Was there a gold mine nearby? Or was this place a transit point in the shipment of gold? Perhaps metalwork or other related activities were performed here. Again, this may have been a reference to Ollantaytambo. Then again, maybe the original name was actually Choquetakarpo. Takapu has many possible interpretations. It refers to an ancient technique of woven symbols, which have led to claims it is a lost Inca writing system. Such motifs may have represented kings or royal families. Apparently, their use in Peru continues today. Takapu, or Takapo, was also the name of Wiracocha's son. Wiracocha is a legendary figure in Andean history. As the 8th Inca king, he's believed to have expanded Ollantaytambo, as well as to have been the father of Pachacuti, the one who overturned space and time. But Wiracocha also refers to the creator god of Inca and pre-Inca mythology, whose profile appears to be chiseled into a cliff overlooking Ollantaytambo. Additionally, Takapu can signify he who writes and records the facts, which seems to support the idea that this place was an administrative center. Confusion over the name and its meanings not only highlight the mysteries of this site, but the complex, overlapping, and largely unknown history of much of pre-Spanish Peru. I began my investigation at the lower set of buildings. Quite a view, of course. See if I can get up here without falling. But you can see the inside. Many niches, some of which are obviously trapezoidal. Some not so much. But it's certainly a rougher approach than was used at the palaces and the temples in Machu Picchu and in Cusco, and as we'll see in Ollantaytambo. So here we are inside of one of the little areas within the first building that we saw coming down the hill on our way to Ollantaytambo. We'll go up to the next structure in just a moment. You can see it's, not in a great state, not in a real good condition anymore. But you have the trapezoidal niches, which again are very crudely made, especially compared to the ones in Cusco and Machu Picchu. These are Pyrrhic Our guide said these are quarry. The Koki culture also occupied this area, as well as the Chancas. And the Incas were known to bring in workers from other parts of the empire as well, like the Chachapoya are thought to have been responsible for the architectural style and the construction over at Choquetakarpo. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 niches. You have some holes up top, which may have been for, beams, possibly, roof beams. On this side you have 4 niches facing east. Of course, 4 was an important number in Andean culture. Meant the 4 cardinal directions, earth, wind, fire, and sky, as well as the 4 suyus, or corners of Tawantinsuyu, the Incan Empire. A little bird has made a nest in that hole. But yeah, so there's mortar used in these stones. Some granite. Some of this almost looks like granite. Maybe some quartzite. Okay, let's head up to the next location. As I headed up the hill to the next set of buildings, I reviewed what I knew of Inca and pre-Inca site layouts and architecture. Many cities and religious complexes in ancient Peru were divided into 2 sectors, an upper or Hanan and lower or Huron sector. No one today is really sure what this division meant, but it may have been a nod to the fundamental force of duality that rules our physical world. Interestingly, Llaqtallaqtayoq also seems to have 2 sectors, one uphill from the other. Many Andean sites also incorporate geocosmic alignments into their architecture. That is, buildings were constructed so that walls, doors, and windows provide views of distant mountains or cities, orient along cardinal directions, or align with celestial events like solstices and equinoxes. Llaqtallaqtayoq provides a clear view of Mount Veronica and the Urubamba River to the northeast, as well as the sun gate of Intipunku, also known as the wind gate of Wairaqpunku, atop a ridge to the north. Long after returning home from Peru, while examining a satellite photo of this site, I noticed that the lower building seems to align with the azimuth of the June solstice sunrise, approximately 65 degrees. The June solstice was a sacred occasion in Inca times, and many structures throughout Peru are correspondingly angled. As I've often noted, Inca structures frequently employ the trapezoidal shape. This motif is very old in Peru, and as conquerors, the Inca seem to have merely adopted it as a symbol of their empire. The trapezoid is plainly evident here at Llaqtallaqtayoq, though not in the fine megalithic style of nearby Ollantaytambo. Okay, we're up at this second structure. In the hills west of Ollantaytambo. You can see that there was mortar used here, and that at one time it appears that this whole wall was covered in stucco, which I believe a similar approach was used at Choquetakarpo. I'll have to check on that. And Choquetakarpo is thought perhaps to have been constructed by or using the Chachapoya from northern Peru, who used this stucco method. And you can imagine at one time it may have been totally covered in stucco and smooth and maybe painted. Who knows at this point. But a bit different than what is considered, characteristically Inca architecture. And for that reason, it's thought that this is older than Inca. Our guide said quarry. Yeah, so around 1000 AD, their grip on this area was relinquished, and Peru entered a time of war for 400 years until the Incas began to expand. A really cool little room here. Let's see if I can kind of get some other tourists here in the background, but you can see, you know, a lot of these trapezoidal niches again. One person I heard say that this may have been a living quarters, but it's fairly large construction. You can see there are, you know, a couple other buildings, all of which appear to have the trapezoidal niche and the trapezoidal doorway, which, if this is Wari or if it's pre-Incan, is additional evidence that, you know, the trapezoidal shape is not Incan. You know, it's associated with Inca buildings, but they got it from a previous civilization. Whether it was the Wari or the Kilki, or whether they inherited it from another civilization, whether it was Tawantinsuyu to the south or some of the other cultures to the north, who knows? But I think it's just, if this is older than Inca, then it's additional evidence that that trapezoidal symbol means something beyond this claim that the Incas used it because it was seismically sound. It just doesn't really cut it with me. Because it's used in small niches as well, and there's really no risk of those collapsing. So, you know, the fact that it's used in the doorway to the sun or the gateway to the sun, that's telling. It is a gateway to the sun, or at least it is supposed to represent that. And so that trapezoidal shape is significant. Here we are in one of the structures overlooking Ollantaytambo. This is the complex on the south side of the other one we looked at. But we have more trapezoidal niches here. Again, you know, you've got this stucco. See, there's mudstone in here, quartz, you know, granite, pink granite. Oh, here's, it's kind of interesting. So this is stone. It's just a rectangular stone protrusion. Might have been used for, and there's one on the other side as well. You can see, oh, and there's another one right here. So there's one right here. There's another one right here. Who knows what that was used for? Maybe for supporting a roof. You know, there's a couple, don't mean to make you dizzy here, sorry. There's some holes up here. There might have been beams across here. So this could have been aided in roof support. Tough to know. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm sure somebody has a lengthy paper or book about it. But yeah, really interesting. And then just this incredible view. Incredible view. With my favorite feature so far, I think in all of Peru that I've seen. I don't know if you can see it in this. That's the gateway to the sun. We were up there earlier. Double jammed trapezoidal doorway, steps leading up to it, and up top there's like a, I guess it's like kind of like an usnu or a ceremonial platform with some niches, and yeah, it's just awesome. I love it here. I love it here. I could spend months here, maybe years. It's just fascinating. One last feature, trapezoidal doorway here, or what's left of it. There we go. And another one on this side. So, gotta hit the road and go down on the next site. We'll be going to the quarry and see where these large stones for construction of Ollantaytambo were sourced.